The way you guys kind of ended the season last year, it felt like even in the locker room at that last game, it was almost like the beginning of something rather than the end of something. As you pick up now, was there momentum going on, especially after new coaching change, that you guys can build on from last year?
For sure, there's so much to learn and to grow from last year, but at the end of the day, it's going to be a new group of guys. It's going to be 90 unique individuals joining the team with one goal in mind, to win a world championship. And I think we set the tone for that today. At the start of the offseason, a lot of our core group of guys know what they want and are vocal about it and are willing to go out on a limb and say, this is what we want from our teammates, this is what we expect from ourselves. So I'm proud of how we started day one.
The year that you have under the belt with this group and this team in the city, does that give you a little more confidence to be able to be that kind of leader?
Yeah, without a doubt. I'm not coming in learning a new system, trying to learn everybody's name. I know the guys around me, I know the system, so how can I build upon what we started last year?
What's the excitement level for you in the defense, especially with the addition of Christian Wilkins?
I think us as a whole defense, we're at an all-time high in terms of excitement level. Just speaking to the guys in that room, there's so much belief in themselves and each other that we should go out there and be a dominant defense.
Robert, Coach Pierce, he said last year that he mentioned you as the first guy that really started to join Max as leading the charge on defense, and then by the end of the year it was all 11. Do you think you assumed even more of a leadership role on the defense and in the locker room this year?
Yeah, without a doubt. Going on year 2 with the organization, guys have shown that they respect me, that they care about my opinion, so it's my opportunity to take young guys under my belt, even older veteran guys that sometimes need a push in the back and give it to them. And I tell those guys, don't be afraid to coach me up. I'm not this perfect player, so if you notice me lacking in any area, get on me. So I'm not above. As a leader, you gotta take and give. So I'm excited to see where we go with the guys.
Robert, I don't know if you were part of the group, but AP said that there was a group of players that stuck around for most of the offseason. How did that kind of originate? Was it something that was player-led, or?
Well, for me, it started from last year, coming in this building, and day 1 I got signed to be a Raider. I went to work out, and I started my off-season program at that point when I got signed, and saw guys like Max in there, Colton Miller, the leaders of the team, showing that they're not too big to come in and work every day in the off-season. So that inspired me to stick around here for the majority of the off-season and to encourage other guys, get in the building. Free meals, free workouts, like you get to be around the boys. So I was really proud of the guys that did stick around and showed that they're putting in that work. I know the guys that went off campus, they still did their work, they're still putting in that work, but it's always good to be around each other. I think it brings about a level of inspiration both to and from. Guys were asking me, what do you get out from this off-season workouts? I said, I get inspired by young guys. I love getting chased. Those next guys behind me want my job as bad as I want my job. So how can I keep my job with this team? And just being here inspires me.
There's another young guy, Tyree Wilson, who he didn't have this last year. He was coming off an injury. Now he has been able to devote most of his time to football. Is he one of those young guys that you guys understand what the potential is there and trying to push him to get there?
Yeah, around this league, I've heard it from many different coaches. The biggest jump in a player's career is often from year 1 to year 2. It's because they get to see a full off season. They get to see what the NFL is all about. They get to see how to take care of their bodies, how to prepare. So we're expecting to see a huge upswing from Tyree. I know he expects to see it in his game as well. And when you get a guy who's very talented and eager and hungry to get out there and work, the only thing is to go up from there. So we're excited to see what contributions he'll make.
Whether it's been minute or maybe none at all, just going from being your linebacker coach to now being the forefront of the organization, your head coach, what differences have you noticed in AP?
AP is who AP is, and he's unapologetically himself. So for him to take over as a head coach and he continue to be so humble and to be who he is as a person, I think is special, because we as players have a very keen eye for telling when a coach is being coach talk or just talking to talk. AP doesn't do that. He speaks from the heart. he lays out a very clear and concise picture of what he wants this offseason to look like, what he expects our team to look like. And as players, we just go about getting his vision to come to fruition. So I feel like AP is very clear and concise with what he wants. And it's us job as leaders to make sure everybody follows along with the vision.
With it being draft time and you being an undrafted guy, does that still kind of push you and give you a little bit of edge to, you know, your workouts and what you do on the field on the daily?
Yeah, I would say the chip on my shoulder has grown to a crack on my shoulder. At this point in my career, you get some recognition, you get some praise, but at the same time, you know that there's so much more out there for you to go take. Yeah, young guys inspire me, seeing how talented the rookie class will be, seeing how talented these young undrafted guys, Kanai, Luke, you know, Bernie, late round draft pick are, and how talented they will be as players. That inspires you to stay on your game. You know, you can't take a step backwards. You got to keep finding ways to improve your game. The moment you look worse than you did the previous season is the fastest way to get out of this league. So I'm looking forward to showing my improvements.
Is there a message that you would have to somebody whose draft night might not work out the way they hope it will in a week or so?
Yeah, every year I go out on Instagram and put out a little message on draft night. You don't need to be drafted to play, have long, successful careers in this league. I'm not the only one. There's tons of guys all over the league. AP being an undrafted player who went on to win 2 Super Bowls as a green dot middle linebacker, now a head coach in this NFL. So you look at guys' journeys and you try to pick and learn from those guys' journeys, especially those undrafted players, James Harrison being one of those guys I looked up to. And what does it come down to? It comes down to hard work, execution, getting better every day. So I'm focused on doing that right now.
So Rob, you kind of alluded to having to get better. Last offseason, you got better in pass coverage. What are some things you're looking to improve on this offseason?
Yeah, for me, football comes down to fluidity. You can see it with the naked eye. An untrained eye can tell fluidity versus non-fluid. And for me, the fluidity of motion speaks to the level of athleticism and preparedness that the player has. So if I could get my game to look crisp and smooth and not taking false steps, being violent on ball carriers, being a good teammate, I always challenge myself, how could I become a better teammate to my players? So there's so many things to work on, and we just try to get 1% better in each one of those areas.
One of your most on the head drop rule, and you know, with all those changes being made, how do you think that will propel you to become a better
At the end of the day, it's a rule. We've had rules in this game forever. You either learn how to abide by them or you get penalized. At the end of the day, I am somebody who's a big proponent of player safety. So if the stats are true, if people are getting injured at an unnecessarily high rate because of a play that can be stopped, I believe it's good for the game. I am all about the longevity of football as a whole, and I love this game of football, and I want to see it played for 100 years from now on. And yeah, if it's for the betterment of the game, I'm all about it.
Do you have some clarity on what exactly you can't do, like exact understanding of what's going to be not allowed?
I think there's still some gray in the area, and over the course of OTAs and mini camp and training camp, we'll have so much video recognition of what can and can't be done that we should have a better idea come the start of the season.
Do you want to make it tough, like when you're trying to bring down a ball carrier, of like, oh wait, I can't do this, right? I mean, does it something that enters your mind during the field of play?
It's definitely something that can enter your mind, and at that point, hopefully it's become so trained into how you play as a player that you're not just going to go out there and make a mindless mistake, is falling on somebody's legs. For me, it's all very micro decisions, like you're making decisions every millisecond. And I believe that as an NFL player, you have the ability to make those decisions, yes or no. So it comes down to the discipline, the training, and being able, we'll see how it plays out at the end of the day. But yeah, it'll be interesting.
One of your most memorable moments last year's after that Sunday night game on TV, you announced you and your wife were expecting a child. What's this off season been like with not only having football but having a big life change to prepare for too?
Yeah, my beautiful wife is still pregnant. We got about 8 to 10 more weeks. We just found out the baby was flipped the right way. So baby girl is ready at any point, but hopefully she'll bake a little bit longer, get nice and strong and fat, and then join us here in sometime in June.
You getting any advice from Max?
Definitely getting a lot of advice from Max and so many other girl dads on the team. We just had 4 little babies under the age of 1 swimming in our pool literally 2 days ago. So there's a whole slew of young parents who are doing a great job, and I'm just excited to be one of them here shortly.
All right, thanks.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, Robert.